Hey everybody, this is Easy Muffin, and I am back with a new video that was actually requested by another YouTube user, the Foxy Bizzle. So this one's for you. This is going to be a video on how to make the fire beam and electric explosion spells that were shown in my very first tutorial. And I'm not going to put them in tomes or show you what they do in game because I've already got a video that does that. And if you want to see how to add magic effects to spells or spells effects to tomes, and also see what these spells look like in the game, then go check out my first video. And that'll also help you out with a few other things as far as magic effects, spells, and spell tomes. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is open up Magic. Mine was opened by default, even though I haven't been on this in forever. And then you're going to go to Magic Effect, and I just want to let everyone know I'm using I'm making a completely new mod. I'm not using the mod that I've already made. So I'm going to try to copy this as best as I can, but I'm sorry if it doesn't quite turn out the same way. Excuse me. So anyway, first things first, with all fire spells, I like to copy the script from those into any new fire spells I make, because it makes it so that targets that are already on fire take extra damage. And it's already a written script, so I don't have to write it. All I have to do is put it into a new spell. So I'm going to put that into Fire Beam. So the first thing I'm going to do is just come in here and go to New. And if this would ever load, okay. So Z, we'll do Fire Beam Effect. And for the name, simply Fire Beam Effect. It'll be a value modifier. Concentration, because you want it to keep casting as long as you hold down the casting button. Delivery, we definitely want it to be aimed. And magic skill will be in destruction. Minimum skill level to use the skill, we'll just put in 0. And then associated item, excuse me, associated item 1 is going to be, oh, I'm sorry, I've been sick for a while, so we're going to type in health, or H, and find health right down there, and that's all we're going to put in. Resist value, resist fire, taper duration, you don't really need one because it's not going to do damage over time. You can add one if you want. You don't have to. I'm not going to. We want it to be hostile. We want it to be detrimental. Let's see, what else do we want? We do want magnitude. We don't need area. And we don't need duration on this, because again, it's concentrated. I'm not going to worry about keywords, but if you look in the first tutorial, I show you how to add those and tell you kind of what they do. And I'm not going to worry about the menu display object because I'm not actually going to be showing this in the game. So casting art, you can choose whatever the hell you want. You can have blizzard hand effects, you can have light beam, it doesn't really matter. What I did is, which one did I do? I'm pretty sure I did, took forever to find it. There's a beam in here, and I thought maybe it was one of these at first, but these actually are beams that come towards you instead of going out from you. But if you look really closely, and you may have to go through a couple times, you'll find a beam, and it's a light beam sort of thing. I think it's actually this right here, beam projectile, and that should create your I'm sorry, my mind went blank. That should create your beam coming from your hand. And then you don't need an explosion. You don't need impact dataset or image space mod necessarily, but we're going to put in an impact dataset, And we're just going to give it something with fire. Type in M, go down to magic, and we'll just do flames barrier impact. Well, what was that? What was this? We'll just do flames impact set. So then when it hits them, it looks like flames. Don't need to worry about enchant stuff. Oops. Hit shader is the lighting that comes when you hit them, so I'm not going to worry about that. Hit effect art, again, I'll just do something with flames so it all looks the same. Go down to magic again. Actually, you might have to go... Oh lord. We'll just do fire cloak. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to worry about casting light, but casting art, we'll do fireball hand effects. There aren't really flame ones, so we'll just do fireball. And then sounds, you can do whatever you want. Most of them are pretty easy to find. Like if I come in here to draw sheath, if I go to M, it goes down to magic, and then you can find destruction, you can fireball, fire charge, fire bolt, fire storm, etc., etc., etc. You can choose whatever you want. Since this is just how to make the basic spell, I'm not going to worry about those. So you don't need to add dual casting art. There are only 2, and neither of those are typically going to be for any spells you make. So don't worry about those. Scale is basically how much extra damage it does when you're dual casting. So if you put it at 1.5, it'll do 50% extra damage when you are casting with both hands. And we'll just set it to, I don't know, 1.1, just to make sure it's not too overpowered or anything. Base cost, I'm going to leave it at 0. You can set it to whatever you want, whatever you think is a good cost for it. I typically like to keep my spells true to, or as close to the other spells in the game as I can. So the fire beam spell, what I did is I made it a little more powerful than flames, and made it cost a little bit more. So it's just pretty much an upgraded version of flames, and it looks cooler. Skill usage multiplier is, and I didn't explain this right in the first video, and I apologize for that, but the skill usage multiplier is how quickly the skill that you set this in, so in this one it would be destruction, how quickly that skill will level up from you using this spell. So I think I set it to like 20 on, what was it? The fire bomb or fire explosion spell or whatever it was in the first video. And I ran around the game with that, and I leveled up my destruction to 100 within probably about an hour. So make sure that you set that right. 1 will level just normal. Depending on the spells, if they're really powerful spells that take a lot of mana, I typically like to set them so that they level you up a little bit faster. Like I might set it to 1.3, but that's typically the max I'll do. But you can set it to whatever. You could set it to 1000 if you want to level up your destruction to 100 pretty much instantly. So anyway, we're going to set magnitude in this. We're not going to do duration. It doesn't need area, and it doesn't need casting time. It doesn't need area because it's not an explosion spell. And you can add area to normal spells. It's just if you don't add an explosion visual effect to it up here, it's not going to look good because you'll be damaging all these enemies near the enemy you're hitting, but you won't see any visual effects. But anyway, we don't need casting time because it's a concentration spell. And we don't need to worry about these at all unless you are going to let NPCs able to use the spell. And then equipability, we're not going to set anything. And in the magic item description, we'll just put in, oops, not fire bam, fire beam, there we go. So that's done. Just gonna click OK. Now if you come in here to spell, I'm pretty sure you do it in here. I can't remember exactly. Like I said, it's been forever since I've gotten in here. No, I'm gonna go back to Magic Effects real quick, and I'm gonna find. Go down to. We'll find a fire spell real quick. That's just destruction. We need fire. Where's the fire? You know what, we'll go up to F. Okay, we'll do let's see. Fire damage, FF aimed. We'll just double click that and open it. Okay, so yeah, you add the scripts in here. The script you use for fire spells is MG01 Fire Effect Script, and you don't have to use that, but that'll make it so it's like all other fire spells in that it will it'll make targets that are already on fire take extra damage. And the spell that we created can't catch targets on fire because it doesn't have any duration or anything like that. But you can add a duration to it, or in the spell add an extra magic effect to it, and it will cause them to catch on fire or to take extra damage when they're on fire. So we're just going to go back in here. Come on, open up. And then you come over here to add. Okay. Whoa. Alright, what's going on? Okay, and what was it? It was MG01 and Fire Effect Script right there. And you can just type in fire and it'll come up with stuff too. It should come up with it. Just type in fire effect, and it's the only one in there that has fire effect in it. So we'll just add that, and then what you got to do is come in here and go to properties. Click on this. Go to, I think it's add property. No. I'm sorry. Edit value. You pick an object, and we're gonna come in here just. Okay, come in here to the where is it? This is very frustrating if you haven't done this in forever. I'll just let you guys know that. Okay, you know what? It may not be actually in here in the object window. It might be. Yeah, we're gonna cancel. Okay, it is gonna be in here in properties. It's not in properties. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna come in here real quick and open up the fire spell again. Where is it? It's up here. Fire damage. Oh, that one doesn't have one. Okay, hang on. This one should have it. Okay, if you come in here and go to properties. Okay, so just put it pointing towards MG01. Apparently it's not actually that hard. So we'll come in here, go to properties, click on that, edit value, and point it to MG01. And then we're done. You can add it to a spell, and which you can then add to a tome if you want. But again, if you want to know how to do that, go check out my first video. It's got all the information. Okay, so anyway, that's the fire beam spell. Now we're gonna move. We're gonna move on to the electric explosion spell, and this is pretty much gonna be the same for any type of spell you make, whether it's fire, ice, or electric. It's all you're going to be doing is changing the visuals, and depending on if it's electric or ice or frost, you're going to be adding different value modifiers. So first of all, we'll just call it explosion. And you're going to type in D here and go to dual value modifier, because typically electric spells will drain health and your mana. And because of that, they normally cost a little bit more mana than fire spells. And same goes for frost. They typically cost more than fire spells. So this is going to be fire and forget. Delivery is going to be aimed, or I'm sorry, self. Scroll up. And if you choose aimed, then it'll actually be something that you'll throw, and when it hits, it explodes. If you do it on yourself, then it's an explosion that centers on you, and it goes out. Magic skill destruction, minimum skill level 0. Associated item 1. I don't know why confidence is in there. You must have confidence to use this spell. We're going to go to health, and then we're going to go to Magicka. And this number right here is the rate it drains stuff from the second value modifier. So if we put it to 1 and say it does 10 damage to health a second, it will also do 10 damage to Magicka a second. If you set it to 1.5, it'll do 10 to health and 15 to Magicka per second. So for this, we're just going to set it to 1. If you set it to like 1,000, you're going to have a crazy spell that pretty much it'll drain anyone's mana instantly, just so you guys know. And resist shock is what we need. Perk to apply. In case I didn't explain this in my first video, perk to apply is what perk gets applied to people that are hit with this spell. So you don't want to use that if it's a hostile spell, which this is. We're not going to do taper. It's going to be hostile, detrimental. It'll have hit effects. It won't have duration, and it will have area. So all you need to check are no duration, detrimental, and hostile. And again, I'm not going to worry about keywords. We'll set the base cost to 0 just like the other one, and the skill cost to 1.1. I'm not going to worry about the menu display object again, or the sounds. So what we're going to do, first of all, is, let's see, casting art. Well, you can set anything for that you want. That's what your hands are going to look like while you're casting the spell. So like on the fire beam one, if you have frost hand casting art, then while you're casting the spell, the beam will be coming out of your hand, but there will also be kind of like a frost effect coming off of your hand too. The beam is more of a projectile, so you'll have both of those. Casting art for this one will just I'll just find something with shock in it, and we'll do that. Or not. You know what, I'll just do paralyze. Paralyze mass, why not? Casting light I'm not going to worry about. Hit effect art. This is what art is going to be displayed on targets that are hit with the spell. So if you want them to kind of like have electricity coming off of them after they're hit, use hit effect art. And we will do, go down to magic. Okay. We'll do lightning storm. I'm not going to worry about shaders or enchantments. Projectile, there isn't going to be a projectile because it's centered on ourselves. Impact data set, go down to magic, and we'll do, we want shock. And we're going to do something awesome. So we're going to do shock storm. And for the explosion, you can choose I mean, anything you want. I found some really cool ones, and if I see them scrolling down through here, I'll point them out. But there are some very, very cool ones. So I highly recommend that you actually, if you're making an explosion spell, you kind of mess around with them. Even though it might be annoying to keep going back into the game and seeing what they do, there are a lot of really cool ones. So anyway, I think one of them is a light bubble or something like that. So we're going to do, we'll do Rune Shock. Just because when you step on a shock rune, it's a really, just for its size, it's a really big explosion, and it's really bright. And I found that if you use this explosion, it actually typically will kind of white out your screen for a second when you use it, which I think is pretty cool. And image space mod, image space mod I'm not going to use. For this one, you don't need a script, so don't worry about that. We do want magnitude, and we don't want duration, area. Now remember, this is excuse me. If I remember correctly, this is the radius. It is not the diameter, so you got to be careful with that, because if you put it as 50, that's a 50 radius, which means it's actually 100 diameter. So it'll actually be twice the size of the number you put in here. So you could put in, you might put in a number and then get into the game and see that it's way bigger than you want it, and if that happens, that's why. For this one, we'll set it to 25. And casting time, you can set it to instant if you want. I'm going to set it to 2.5. Whoops. Definitely need a dot in there. And I'm not going to worry about AI using that. So, I mean, that's how you create the electric explosion magic effect. And again, you can add that to a spell tome, and to a merchant, etc., etc. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And I really encourage you guys to just kind of mess around with all the visuals and see what all you can do. And once you get more familiar with which visuals are what, it really makes it a lot easier to make spells, because you know exactly what visuals to use to make your spell look exactly like you want it. So anyway, I hope this was a big help. If you liked the video, like, subscribe. If you need help, feel free to message me, and if you have any ideas for any videos that I can do, or anything that you need help on that you want me to do a video on, please feel free to ask, and I will do my best to make a tutorial on that. So anyway, yeah, I am Easy Muffin, and I will see you guys later.